Greetings, viewers. Once again, I want to welcome you to my YouTube class. In today's class, we're going to be talking about a nematoparasite that is called Strongyloides stercoralis. Strongyloides stercoralis. Strongyloides stercoralis is one of the nematode parasites that affects man in tropical areas all over the world. And it's one of the smallest nematoparasite. One of the smallest nematoparasite that we have. It's not the smallest, but one of the smallest. Of course, you also know that Strongyloides stercoralis is also another very small nematoparasite. Now, here is the characteristics of some of these parasites. Like I said, they are small worms and they have 6 lips. They are surrounded by 6 lips. They have muscular esophagus and both sexes have conical tails. If you can remember in the case of uh, uh, the last parasite we talked about, that is hookworm. The case of hookworm, I said that the female uh, hookworm parasites have conical tails. But in the case of strongyloides, both the male and the females have conical tails. Then the parasitic generation is either parthenogenetic or hermaphroditic. That means that some of the parasites in this case are parthenogenetic. And what does it mean to be parthenogenetic? That means that the females sustain the ability to produce eggs without fertilization. That is what we call parthenogenesis. Then hermaphrodites, some are hermaphroditic. That means that in a single organism and a single parasite, we have both the male and the female structures. Then free living and parasitic is this also another feature of these parasites. Some members are parasitic while some are free living. As a matter of fact, some of the parasitic ones, transform to become free living, and sometimes some of the free living ones transform to become parasitic. We're going to see this in the course of the life cycle. Then the parasitic males are longer than the males. The parasitic females, sorry, the parasitic females are usually longer than the males, but the free living males are longer than the females. Can you see the difference now? The parasitic females are longer than the parasitic males, but for the free living ones, the free living males are longer or larger than the free living females. This is the classification: Nematoda phasmidia, Rhabdidata, Strongyloididae, that's the family. Then the other is Rhabdidata, Strongyloididae is the family, then Strongyloides. Then of course we have many species: Stercoralis, Rati, Feliboni, Ransomii. We also have the one they call Papillosus. So these are some of the basic species we have in these parasites. The next thing to talk about now is the life cycle. We're going to go into the life cycle of these parasites. The life cycle. The life cycle. So we have 3 different phases in the life cycle of Strongyloides stercoralis. As a matter of fact, this parasite has a very complex life cycle. Very complex life cycle. The life cycles are in 3 different phases. We have the first one, which is called homogeneous life cycle. Then it has the second one, which is called heterogeneous life cycle. Then it has what is called the auto-infection. And I want to explain it one after the other. Coming to the homogeneous life cycle, the adult worms, uh, we have parasites that are called viviparous parasites. We have, and when we say parasites, as a matter of fact, I didn't mention that when we introduced nematode. Nematode parasites can be viviparous. That means they lay life larvae, like we're going to see in filarial worms. We also have those that are oviparous, they lay eggs, such as the ones I've mentioned, like Ensela dodene, and that is the hookworm, and even Ascaris rhombicoides. They are oviparous, they lay eggs. They also have nematoparasite that is ovoviviparous. That means that they lay eggs that hatch still within the body of the host or the intestine of the host. But in oviparous parasites, they lay eggs, but these eggs don't hatch within the intestine. I don't know if you understand the difference between ovoviviparous and oviparous. So the case of hookworm, they are oviparous because they lay eggs. But these eggs they lay do not hatch within the body of the host. It hatches when it comes out of the environment. And like I said, when we talked about hookworm, the hatching takes place within 24 to 48 hours. But in the case of strongyloides, it's ovoviviparous. Ovo, ovo. So it means that these parasites lay eggs, but the eggs hatch within the intestine. So that means that what comes out of the feces or what comes through the feces is not the eggs or the parasites, but the larva of the parasites. So I'm talking about the first stage or the first life cycle, which is homozygous. So what happens in homozygous is that these females lay eggs, and the eggs the hatch within the intestine. Now, when that individual suffering from the disease, that is the name of the disease is strongyloidiasis. When such individual passes out feces, the larva now passes out, with the feces into the external environment. Within this external environment, the larva is the L1 larva, and the L1 larva is still called rhabditiform larva. The L1 larva is still called the rhabditiform larva. So this rhabditiform larva, which is the L1, of course, will morph twice to become the infective larva or the L3 larva, which is called the filariform larva. Filariform larva. I know I mentioned this in nematodes. They are basically the same. The nomenclature, the words used for them are the same. Rhabditiform larva. So you pronounce it well so that you don't bite your tongue. Rhabditiform larva is the L1 larva, and it's not the infective larva. So the infective larva is the filariform larva, which is the L3. So within the environment, the L1, molds to become filariform. And once it becomes filariform, then it will now, of course, penetrate through the body of the host, just like in the hookworm. So the L3 also contains the buccal cavity. I didn't mention it in the characteristics. It is also equipped with buccal cavity. So through that buccal cavity, it becomes easy for the parasite to penetrate the body of the host, just like you have in the hookworm. So the L3 penetrates. And once it penetrates, of course, it passes through the respiratory stream. It joins circulation, passes through the respiratory stream, and lands back in the intestine. Within the intestine, that is where the L4 larva now molts to become adult. And once they become adults, within the intestine where they become adults, the male and the females will lay eggs, will lay eggs, and once they lay eggs, of course, the eggs hatch and the larva is released. If the person passes out feces, the larva, goes out to the feces to the external environment, and the cycle continues. So what I just explained is the homozygous life cycle. Now, when it comes to the heterozygous life cycle, this is heterozygous. Now, in this case, what happens is that those filariform larvae that are laid within the environment, you discover that the filariform larva, instead of molting or transforming into uh, the infective no, the radiform larva, yes, which is the L1, instead of molting and transforming into the parasitic filariform larva, which of course will molt to become, which of course penetrate the body of the host. So in this case, the filariform larva, the radiform larva, transforms into a free living adult male and female. So from the radiform, which is the L1, radiform larva, uh, it morphs to become L2, L3, L4, then becomes adult. But these adults are not parasitic adults, they are free living adults. So within that same environment, the adult male and female will now mate. Once they mate, they produce eggs. And the eggs hatch within that same environment. And once the eggs hatches now, it hatches into L1. Then from L1 it moves to L2, L3. Now, some of the parasites will continue that line of being a free living organism, or that life of yes, that life of being a free living organism. That is from L1, L2, L3, L4, then become adults, and this adult is a free living adult. While some will now divert. Once it gets to L3, which is a falciparum larva, it turns into a parasitic organism and penetrates the body of another host. Can you see why it is called heterogeneous? It's heterogeneous in the sense that some go through the free living stage, while some go through the parasitic stage. So it's heterogeneous, it's mixed. So let me explain again. I said in the heterogeneous stage, the radiform larva which has been released and are found within the feces of the person suffering from the disease, the radiform larva, instead of molting to become a parasitic organism within that environment, what it will now do is that it must become a free living organism, a free living strongyloides. Don't forget that in the characteristics we said that some are free living while some are parasitic. And the dynamics in this is that some of the parasitic strongyloides are the ones that transform to become free living. And some of the free living can also transform to become parasitic. So instead of transforming into molting to become parasitic falciparum larva, which penetrates the host, it transforms into a free living strongyloides. And these free living strongyloides now, of course, mature into adults. The male and female will mate and lay eggs within the environment. Once they lay eggs within the environment, those eggs hatch into L1. And the L1 is still called what? Rhabditiform larva. The L1 must become L2 to become L3. And some of the L3 will also want to become adults, and we come okay merge from L3 to L4, then L4 to become adults. These adults are still free living adults, while some will merge to become the L3, the infective L3, falciparum L3, which becomes parasitic. And how do we know it becomes parasitic? Because it finds a human host and penetrates a human host, and the cycle continues. So this is what we call heterogeneous life cycle. The last stage, but not the last stage, is what we call auto-infection. Remember I said that this parasite is ovoviviparous, meaning that they lay eggs, but those eggs hatch within the intestine. So these eggs that have hatched within the intestine hatch into a larval stage that is called L1, which is radical larva. Now some of those radical larvae don't go out through the feces. Not all of them that pass out through the feces. Some of them still remain within the intestine. And those ones that remain within the intestine, that is the radical larva L1, will now merge still within the intestine to L2 and to L3. And once it gets to L3, then it penetrates the intestinal mucosa, joins circulation, passes through the respiratory tree, and lands back in the intestine. This is what we call auto-infection. Auto-infection, that means that the parasite auto-infects the host. Instead of passing through the feces and going through the external environment and becoming L1, becoming L2, L3, and penetrating the host, it does that right within the small intestine. So the L1 there molds to become L2 and L3. Once it becomes infective, that L3 penetrates the intestinal mucosa, then joins circulation, passes through the respiratory tree, then lands back to the intestine again, where they mature into adult and lay eggs. So this is what we call the life cycle. You can see that the life cycle of Strongyloides stercoralis is very complex, just like the life cycle of Plasmodium, very complex. Having gone through the life cycle, then pathology. Pathology is very similar to that of a hookworm, very, very similar. The invasive stage, that's the first stage. The invasive stage, that is where the parasite, invades the host, the body of the host, either the hand or the leg, and of course, it causes a kind of a slight injury, which can result to hemorrhage, and it can also cause a secondary bacterial infection, within that region where the parasite has penetrated. That is invasive stage. Then the next stage is pulmonary stage. The pulmonary stage is the stage where it passes through the lungs and possibly other part of the respiratory tree. Of course, it can cause slight injury within the lungs. And once it causes slight injury within the lungs, then of course it can result to pneumonitis or even a bronchial asthma and the rest of them. Then it can also result to burning sensation within the chest region. That is what happens within the pulmonary stage. Then intestinal stage, this parasite, has a way of penetration to the mucosa and submucosa of the intestine, and within there, they cause localized a sensation or even aching pain because they burrow through the mucosa and even lay eggs within the mucosa of the intestine. Now, this can also cause ulceration and also secondary bacterial infection within this intestine. So this is what happens at the intestinal stage. Then, of course, diagnosis is through the use of concentration methods. This concentration method has a unique method of identifying the larva of Strongyloides stercoralis within the feces. I don't want to go into details in explaining the concentration method. We have different methods that are under this. So that is the method used for the purpose of diagnosis. Then treatment. In the case of treatment, one can use chemotherapy, and the reason is because these parasites, like I said, causes auto infection, or maybe probably has the ability to auto infect the host, and because of this auto infection, is usually good to use chemotherapy. This is a chemical method that kills the parasite and reduces the rate of auto infection. Then, apart from that, albendazole, ivermectin, albendazole is also a good drug that one can use. Then carbendazole, I think there's one they call carbendazole. These are drugs that one can use, but don't forget that chemotherapy is very, very necessary to curtail the rate of auto infection. Then prevention and control. Of course, adequate latrine should be provided. Then untreated human excreta or feces should not be used for the purpose of manure. Then what again? Epidemiology. The epidemiology is also similar to the one I have in hookworm parasite. Then there's a basic difference between, morphologically speaking, between the hookworm parasite and the strongyloides. Don't forget that they are somehow closely related. Though hookworm is very large, the large one, the strongyloides is a very small one, but they are closely related in the sense that they have what we call they have a buccal cavity, similar buccal cavity. mm, Similar buccal cavity. So, but the buccal cavity of hookworm is deeper, compared to that of the Strongyloides stercoralis, but they have very similar level, very similar structure of their buccal cavity. Okay, I've talked about epidemiology, I've talked about treatment, I've talked about pathology, diagnosis. I don't think there's another thing to talk about. So this is how far we can go in Strongyloides stercoralis. So, as also other parasites, I think we're left with how many nematoparasites? We'll have Tranquillus medinensis, then filarial worms, and that will be all for nematoparasites. Then we may go back to plate helminths to look at Echinococcus granulosus, and possibly diphyllobotulinum. So this is how far I can go for today. Thank you for being part of my class. I cherish you a lot. Thank you and thank you, Dr. Anukujo Anochena. See you in my next class.